It goes away.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Thank you for clicking on this video. I really hope my reviews are helping you all out, and if you're still looking for games that are worth playing, stick around because I got another one for you straight ahead. So with that said, let's go ahead and get into it. For some reason, the developer Sucker Punch doesn't seem to get a lot of spotlight in the gaming industry. And for those of you who have never heard of Sucker Punch, they are the creators of the Sly Cooper games. More recently, they made the original Infamous in 2009 and its sequel in Infamous 2 in 2011. While I believe all those are worth playing, their successor, Infamous Second Son, deserves a spot in anyone's PS4 game collection. Infamous Second Son is an action-adventure game set in a world, or specifically Seattle, where society hates and fears superhumans, which are called conduits. You play as a graffiti artist and small-town punk kid, Delsin Rowe, who is a member of the fictional Native American tribe, the InFAMOUS. He finds out early on that he is a conduit himself and is ruthlessly hunted by a government agent named the D.U.P, or otherwise known as the Department of Unified Protection. The story revolves around Delsin and his brother Reggie, who is a police officer, chasing down the director of the D.U.P, Brooke Augustine, a conduit herself after she leaves their tribe in a crippled state. First of all, the story is good. It's pretty straightforward with no plot twists, and you make karmic choices throughout that change the outcomes and the moral status of Delsin himself. It's supported by excellent voice acting by Troy Baker and Travis Willingham. The supporting characters you come across in the campaign are interesting, such as Fetch, a female conduit and recovering drug addict, and the development and dialogue between all of them is convincing. It's mostly sprinkled with fun and entertaining sarcasm, and to top it all off, the characters' facial animations are some of the best I've ever seen. The city and the surrounding world looks good. I mean, ridiculously good. As I mentioned, it mostly takes place in Seattle, ironically the home of Sucker Punch Studios. It's gorgeous, almost identical to the real thing, and after running, flying, and climbing from building to building or reaching the top of the Space Needle, I couldn't help but to want to go and visit. The weather is well done. After it rains, you see puddles in the streets, alleys, and sidewalks, reflecting lights from surrounding buildings and shadows coming off of objects when the sun's out. There's a good amount of side activities to keep you busy as well, like absorbing energy from shards that help upgrade Delsin's superpowers, spraying graffiti around the city in different colors depending on your karma, and clearing the D.U.P's hold in the city by destroying command centers. And the command centers are well defended. And that's where the combat comes in. It's exciting, fun, and smooth, despite minor frame drops when the action gets really intense. Nothing major, but it's worth noting. It's also strategic, forcing you to find different ways to take down enemies, making you fall back and absorb different powers from neon storefront signs or smokestacks on top of buildings. Wisping through vents with smoke is an easy way to get the drop on enemies, or running away at the speed of light with neon can get you out of a bind quick. Upgrading Delsin is helpful too. By stacking up on shards, you have the ability to upgrade three main powers, which are smoke, neon, and video, and all three are equally as fun, and they have their own skill tree as well. It gives you the freedom to choose your own playstyle with each one. The overall gameplay of Infamous is fun and smooth. It's got somewhat of a parkour feel to it, from scaling up buildings and using powers to hover in the air, or maybe even just running around through the streets and alleyways. And let's not forget the color palette. Second Son is full of bright, eye-catching colors. Now, out of all this greatness, I only found three things I didn't like about Second Son. Karmic choices have been in all three of the Infamous games, and the results of these choices ended up changing things later on in the story. But this time around, they sort of fell flat. I mean, don't get me wrong, the choices you make are fun, good or bad, and they do have different outcomes, but they're not as impactful in my opinion. I was hoping for two totally different stories. Secondly, even though there's a different tree for all the skills depending on your karma, to me, the powers seem the same across the board. There's not much diversity aside from colors. And lastly, when it comes to the city, I noticed that the store signs were just copy and pasted throughout. It never really broke the immersion, but I was hoping for a little more creativity. Ultimately though, I had a blast playing this game multiple times. It does have decent replayability despite it being mostly linear, and even though it's short, I ended up being satisfied with it all at the end. So what do you think? Go ahead and let me know in the comments below, and I'll respond to any of the questions you might have. If this video helped you out, it would mean a lot if you click that thumbs up and subscribe to see my thoughts on upcoming games you might want to play. So as always, thank you guys for watching, have yourselves a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next one.